Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Garden Club. Here we are on the most glorious October day in the last week in October. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so looking forward to us doing some planting together for Garden Club in a few moments. First of all, I want to show you one or two things that are still growing beautifully and flowering beautifully. And you know, it's never a good idea, I don't think, to tear things out the first sign of autumn. You know, just leave things alone, let nature take its course. You get some glorious blooms. Let's go over and look at those now, and then after that we're going to plant some really lovely little violas, Viola symphonia. They're so delicate and lovely, and yet they're tough, and they'll go through the winter beautifully. And then we're going to plant our anemones, which is a bit of a challenge, but I'll come to that in just a moment or two. Let's go and see these things that are still flowering. Now look at this. Here we are in the last week in October, and there's some beautiful cosmos blooming here. I'm not a great one for pulling things out as soon as, you know, the first chill of autumn comes, because, you know, things go on flowering much longer than people think. Here we are, look at that. They're lovely. And you know, around and about them things are looking a bit raggy, and some of the other plants have gone off, but there's still some lovely blooms that we can get off this. Look at this. Really nice. So I reckon, you know, unless you need the space for something else, hang on as long as you can with your plants, because they want to hang on for you. What else can I show you? Well, of course, this is nothing like so surprising, because the dahlias are still blooming. Until the frost comes, they'll go on blooming. Parts of the country had lots of frost already and their dahlias are finished, but down here on the south coast, you know, we've got some lovely dahlias still blooming. That's a little single one, very pretty, very lovely. And here we are again, look, some of those lovely little helianthus that were so beautiful in late summer are still blooming away beautifully. Don't dismiss things too quickly. That's the answer. So now it's time we planted up some beautiful violas. Look at these, Viola symphonia. They're all different. Pretty flowers. That's that one. Look, we've got a lovely sort of pale violet one there. That's a lovely one. Lovely yellowy one. Another yellowy one. They'll be beautiful, and they'll give us some nice flowers through the winter, well, the early part of the winter, and then in the late winter they have a little rest, probably have a little rest when it gets really cold, and then they'll be absolutely marvellous going on into the spring. Really nice, and they should give us some really lovely flowers right up until, well, almost the early summer actually. So they're ever so good to have. They'll get quite long. In fact, some of the ones that we're planting look like this. They're already extending quite tall. That's okay. When they finish flowering, we'll cut them down again to just to fatten them up a little bit. But I don't want to take the flowers off for now because they're looking lovely. I have used these as cut flowers in little things. This one definitely does not want to come out the pot. There we are. Determination. There it is. Firm him well in there. That's good. One on the other side. Over here. Isn't that pretty? So lovely. It's a beautiful day recording this. It's quite chilly, but a gorgeous sunny autumn day in between the autumn showers. Very nice. Lovely root there, look at that. Woohoo! Good. And two more, one on this side, one on the other. nice old pot they've got to go into. There we are, look, there's a yellowy one. Look at that fella. In they go. So much roots, they're well and truly fixed in here. There you are. That's that one. In it goes. And around this side. See if we can get this next one to come out a bit more easily. This one hasn't yet flowered. There you go. Good strong plant though. Lovely. 5 beautiful viola symphonia in their pot, ready to go on. We won't be emptying that pot, I'm sure, until the early summer next year, when they'll have done all their work and given us joy through the autumn, the winter and into the spring. What better than that? What's next? So now, time to plant your anemones. Now some of you may remember I am passionate about anemones. They are so beautiful in the spring. These are beautiful decors anemones, sort of reds and yellows and purples and colours like that. Absolutely lovely. I'll put a picture up so you can see what kind we're planting, because there's so many different ones. Now, anemones are, as some of you will know and some of you will remember, are a little bit of a challenge to plant, because you need to know which way up to plant them, and it's not that obvious always. Now, when they come as a dried up sort of, they look like a little stone or something like that. They're shriveled, like a shriveled dried prune. And so we soak them. I popped them in some water 3 or 4 hours ago and have changed it a couple of times. And here we are. This is what they look like. Look at that. Can you see? They're just like a kind of shriveled up stone. Now, they do have a top and the bottom, and it's really quite important you have it the right way up. Sometimes it's really easy to see, sometimes it's difficult to see, but they have a sort of crown, and that's what not needs to be at the top. Now, those of you who are going to be planting yourselves, when I bring the anemones along, which I will pre-soak for you, I'll try and mark the top. So there should be a little white mark to show you what is the top. And once you've done it once, you'll be able to easily see the crown. Until somebody's shown you, it's not that obvious. Anyway, I'm going to put these in. If you get a really well-shaped one, they have a sort of pointy end, and the pointy end goes down, fun enough. You know, with so many bulbs, it's pointy end up, but this would be pointy end down. We put them fairly deep, about a finger's depth down, and that's going to be a nice one there. That one's really easy to see, because you can almost see that one beginning to sprout there. Can you see that a bit? Maybe. I'm not sure if I got that in the right place. And put these in. Now these are going in a medium-sized pot. So not one of the big pots, and they're not one of your little tiny pots. And they will be lovely. One of the, now you see that's quite a hard one to see, because it's like a little flying saucer, that one, it's flat. But there's a crown on the top there. You can see that there. So that goes up, right? In it goes. One of the lovely things about anemones, because I know some of you will be looking at your bulb pots that you've planted and think, oh gosh, when is something going to come through? And you know, for many of them, you're going to have to wait quite a long time. But anemones will grow quite quickly. Here we are in the 4th week in October, and I would guess by the end of November we will see signs of green coming through, which is really exciting at that time of year. It's lovely to think that we have you know, new growth new growth then before Christmas, and it's to make lots of lovely greenery which looks a little bit like flat-leaved parsley, and that'll grow on until we get to sometime in March, well, depending on the weather. If it's nice and mild, certainly March, if not a little bit later, and you'll see suddenly, all of a sudden, in amongst the foliage, you'll see something like a fist coming out of the ground like this, and it'll gradually unfold like this and come up, and that's the flower bud. Oh, it's a gorgeous thing when they come. And then we have flowers for between 6 and 8 weeks. It's a lovely thing. There we are. Anyway, you can see that I'm very fond of anemones. You've got your wood chips to go on top, just make it look nice and neat and tidy. Put a few of those on. Well, there we are. There's a little something again from Garden Club for this week, the 4th week in October. Next week when we garden together, we'll be at the beginning of November. And those of you who have a long memory of gardening with me will remember that always at the very beginning of November, we plant the first of our tulips. We'll plant tulips then, and then spread out between now and the end of the year, and they're a wonderful thing. I always say that tulips are rather like the fireworks of the garden. You know, they come and they bloom magnificently, and they don't stay too long, but that's not to worry about. They're marvellous. But more about that next week, and I've no doubt I shall wax lyrical about the fact that they're fireworks again then, because I always do. Anyway, it is wonderful to be with you like this, and I'm already looking forward to sharing more joy from the garden next week. Until then, have a very good week. Do take care, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.